Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of Women Empowering Women. I am Galit Ventura Rosen, a business performance expert, as well as a professional speaker. One of my favorite things to do, as many of you know, is I love promoting and spotlighting women entrepreneurs. So this week I have Lisa Danforth with me. And Lisa, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be on here. Thank you.
You're so wonderful. It's going to be so much fun today. We usually get lost in time and we forget how long we have to talk. I wanted to share a little bit about you. And of course, this is just a tidbit of what Lisa does because she does so many amazing things. But I want you guys to get a feel for what she does, who she is, and what we're going to be talking about. So Lisa is a firm believer that business does not have to be hard. So hard. She's a seasoned business strategist. She helps established businesses scale while maintaining work-life balance so they can gain their life back. Over the course of the past 27 years, Lisa has opened and operated 2 catering companies, the Wooden Spoon and Hot Betty Barbecue. Oh, that sounds yummy. You're making me hungry. A professional cleaning company, an international wholesale children's wear company, which she sold for over 35 times her initial opening investment, and for the last 4 years as a business strategist. So welcome, and tell us a little bit more about your journey and how you got here.
Thank you. I really appreciate that intro. A little bit about my journey. I have to say it's really interesting. I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was about 8 years old. I just knew that I wanted to work for myself. My parents are entrepreneurs now, but they weren't then. But it's just something that was within me that I just knew that I'd be working for myself. So by the time when I was going through college, I actually started the professional cleaning company so I could work around my own schedule. And then just sort of it progressed from there. Each time I would move on to something new and come up with something that excited me and extend it to the duration that it was fulfilling me, and then sort of start investigating something new when I was realizing that something else was interesting me. And have had such a good time. I've got to say 27 years. I don't know how that happened.
I know, right? It's not okay. We were talking about the age of our children, and it's not okay that both of us have a child that's over 20. And yeah, we had them when we were 12. So it's pretty much right. That's what I tell people.
2 adult children. It's pretty wild, definitely. And they've been in the business as well, which has been a lot of fun to be able to work for myself and bring them in the kitchen, put them in the dish pit when I was, in the catering business. They love that.
It's great life lessons, isn't it?
It is. They didn't always love the work, but they always loved getting a paycheck, and they've learned so much. And they're great cooks now. So,
wow. Oh my God. That in itself is worth it if they know how to cook. Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you've done a great job with them as well. I know it's so much fun for us as moms and as entrepreneurs to be able to kind of put this path in front of them so they can choose. It's so interesting. Real quick before we jump into your topic, completely relate with this, Lisa, that a lot of, I'm going to say young adults that come out of college just assume they're supposed to get a job. They just assume that's the only path for them. So it's fun because women like us, and also men, that show their children that there's another path that can be chosen. So I had a fun conversation with my son is 21. He's graduating college in a few weeks. And I had a fun conversation with him a few times when he was in town because he doesn't go to school here in Vegas. And he says, well, Mom, I don't know. Do I want to get a job? Do I not? I'm like, son, you have another option. And they don't recognize that. So he, of course, sees through me and through his father, both entrepreneurs, that there's another option for him. So it's neat when we have the ability to show our kids what you've shown yours.
Absolutely. And when they can watch us evolve from one job to another, from one career to another, from one business to another, and really seeing us embrace what lights our fire, what really just, fuels our passion, and leading through that and making choices and even failing forward, failing fast, because those who have succeeded the most have really failed the most.
Yes.
And the kids see that. They see the struggle, but they see us working through it, which I just think is so important. I mean, I have to say I've learned far more from my parents' business than I did from my 4 years of
always. Oh my gosh.
Which I think you should go to college.
Always. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree. I'm a bunch of certifications and different things. I think education is brilliant and we should have it. But obviously there's different types of education. There's the schooling and there's the life. So you want to have a blend of both. In my opinion, I'm also like you. I grew up watching my dad build from nothing. I mean, coming to America from another country before I was born, and then giving us this opportunity to grow in America and live here, me and my three brothers, and watching him build from working 16 hours a day to building his own really entrepreneurship of businesses. So what you did, you saw your dad, it's just neat when you can keep passing that on.
You know, the interesting thing, it's my mom who started the business, and my
I love
father actually was a pipe fitter for many, many years, very talented, very well known, quit the job after 17 years to work in the bakery to make bread. And everyone was like, what are you doing? That's crazy. But they, like your parents, came from nothing. They started in a 1-bedroom apartment where the kitchen sink was the bathroom sink. And they built up multiple businesses and have just taught us such tenacity, which I have to say has been what has supported me in all of my endeavors, is being able to see through to the opposite, to the other end of what it is that I want and create that plan to get there, and knowing that there's going to be the challenge, there's going to be the struggle of figuring it out and actually embracing it and having fun with it, as opposed to getting stuck in the muck and mire.
Yes, yes. So that's a little side story, because I noticed Lisa and I have quite a few things in common regarding our boys, and then also our businesses and also our paths. So it's just fun, because a lot of times I don't even meet the women I interview until today, for a few minutes before we talk, but there's always this attraction where we attract like-minded women. So it's been the most amazing experience for me. I've interviewed over 60 women, and every single one has just been so amazing in her journey and her path, the obstacles she's overcome. So it's fun when we connect and, oh my gosh, wait, I have that too, and I have that too. Well, let's jump into the topic that everybody's waiting to hear us talk about today.
Right.
We're going to talk about running your business and balancing your life, and you're going to give us some wonderful ways to do that today.
Absolutely, and thank you. I'm super excited. And business doesn't have to be so hard. We get so caught up in all of it and trying, especially as women. I think men certainly have this issue as well, but we as women, when we're moms, we are the nurturers and we want to take care of everyone else. And then we struggle with setting those boundaries in place, setting the structures in place that are going to support us in doing what we need to do in order to grow our business and balance. You know, we create these businesses so that we can create a life that we want, a lifestyle and flexibility and all of that. But what we often wind up creating is exactly opposite of what we're looking for, because we're trying to do it all and we're not saying no. I love what Anne Lamott says, no is a complete sentence.
I love that, especially the way we can say it, right, Lisa? No.
I say that to my kids. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, was it the N or the O?
I love that.
I'm all confused.
Good.
But to create balance, and please jump in, and this, I love the conversation. So when you've got, I don't think anyone's going to be jumping in on a live, are they, with questions?
No, but just me and you today.
Okay.
They usually ask questions after the fact, and you can answer them in the group.
So please, if you're watching this, ask any questions. If you've got, we'll pop back in. So for me, really creating balance within my business, the first thing, and as I said, I'm a 27-year, 4-time business owner. So I've struggled, I've had great successes and I've struggled along the way. And what I've found is we really need a vision. We need to know exactly where we want to go and grow our business to before we can actually create that roadmap. Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you ever going to hit the target of success? How are you going to know if you actually are successful or just 2 feet from your goal? So to really create that vision of what it is that you want. I have one client who's actually a guy, I work with a few men, and he had been struggling for quite a while, really hard worker. His business was quite successful. But when we sat down and we had a 3-hour session and created that vision of exactly the life that he wanted when his business was fully cooked. From that point on, he just knew what he's working on, when he's working on it, but why he's working on it. And when we know this, it really allows us to say no, but it also allows us to say no to those things that even seem like a great idea, like it's exciting, we want to do it, but it's actually taking us off from our path of where we want to be headed. So we need to really figure out that vision of, okay, so this really sounds cool, but it's not in a direct path. And along those lines, values. I mean, have you done much values work? I would imagine with the work that you do, you've got to have done some.
Always. Yeah.
Always,
It's so
right.
important to know your worth, your value, what your values are, what your why is. Absolutely.
Knowing what your why is absolutely key. And those values are so important. They're not just something that's out here, hey, I have these values. It's really how you can align your choices. So your long-term vision helps you with your short-term actions. And when we know what our values are, we can always take those choices that are coming at us and align them with our values, but also looking at when we're struggling, when we've got perfectionism that's really tripping us up, or we've got shiny object syndrome.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I always think of that movie Up, squirrel, right, Lisa? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But when we have our values, we can look at how am I embodying my values? Am I, the impact that I want to make, my values of who I want to be, when I'm not doing the work that I want to be doing and not being visible in the way that I need to be doing, I'm not in alignment with my values. So that when we're struggling, like I said, shiny object syndrome, all of that, we can just say, are my actions really truly in alignment with my values? And that allows us and supports us to make those tough choices. Beautiful. In the moment, but just creates so much more balance on the other side of it. So the first component really, vision, values, really get super clear on, and then how do you embody them? That's a big one. I've worked with so many people like, oh, yeah, I know my values, but when I ask them, well, how do you actually embody them in your day-to-day actions? They really aren't able to say.
There's a disconnect.
There's a total disconnect.
It's interesting, right? I think that's such an important piece to point out, because yes, I have these values, but if you look in my life right now, am I actually living them? Am I actually breathing them? And that's the piece that's so important.
Right. And when we're out of alignment with them, you're uncomfortable. There's this chaotic vibration that you want one thing, but you're behaving in a way that's not in alignment with that. And we get this discomfort within us.
Right.
That is where a lot of people get tripped up. They're like, I don't know what's going on. I'm doing the action, but it's not aligned action, aligned with the values and the vision. The second thing that I really recommend, and this is something that women have such a difficult time with, is the boundaries. Boundaries without apologies, setting in the structures in place that are going to support you in creating the business that you want, the lifestyle that you want, the family flexibility and freedom and all of that you want. We say boundaries, and so many of us, it seems like this big gate that's coming down that we're keeping people out, right? These boundaries that are keeping people at bay. So we have this negative connotation around boundaries. I like to think of boundaries as sort of, being up, you're up on your ladder, reaching towards your goal. You've got your eye and your vision on the goal, right? And when somebody is asking you to do something that's taking your eye off the prize, off from the goal of where you're looking for, we need to decide whether we want to sort of reach down and connect with this person. And take our time and our energy away. Sometimes we will, and sometimes we absolutely need to, but it's really a choice. So understanding that boundaries are what is going to support us in doing exactly what we need to be doing.
Sometimes they're there just to keep us sane.
Often, well, I think most of the time they're to keep us sane, to be totally honest with you.
Sorry, but if you don't have boundaries, oh gosh, that shiny object syndrome is going to be an everyday, every hour occurrence.
Right. So when we're asked to, bake the 48 dozen cookies for the bake sale tomorrow to raise money, we want to be that mom. We want to be that woman. We want to be that
goes and buys the cookies.
Yes. See, now
puts them on a plate like you bake them.
I would be the one that's like, oh, I can do it.
No one's ever done that before. I don't know nobody that's watching has ever done that before, right?
But when we look at what we're saying yes to and taking our time, time we have a finite amount of time, 24 hours in a day. So when we're taking and saying yes to something that we really want to do, this goes back to that vision. It's taking up time of what we can be doing to grow our business. So when we can say, no, that doesn't fit into my schedule, or no, I can't do it now, perhaps another time. One of the things that I really recommend, which has been incredibly helpful for all of my clients, is if you have a difficult time saying no, if we have that good girl syndrome, we want to please, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, that hooking, we need that praise in order to sort of continue forward, that we just lost my train of thought totally.
That's okay. I'll jump in and you'll find it back.
Okay.
So you'll find it back. I know. So it's so interesting to me because this topic is one, in my opinion, from all the things you're teaching or sharing today, this one to me is the most important because I already know what you're going to talk about because we discussed it. But I think this one is one of the most important because it's not just about growing your business. It's about balance in your life, which is a really big one for you, Lisa, where there are people out there that are such people pleasers that all they're doing all day long is saying yes, 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 yes. And trust me, I was one of those girls, women, whatever, that needed to learn to say no and not feel bad about it. Hey, can you be on this board? I'm sorry, I've already committed.
Right.
That face.
Love to and no.
Right? Then you get the face. You know what? I'll look at it in the future when I have more time. Or can you be involved in this fundraiser? I've already got 6. For me, it's not even my business growth. It's number one, I like to sleep at night. And if I don't sleep 7 to 8 hours, you don't want to be around me. And number 2 is I love spending time with my family.
Yeah. And that's what, when we can connect to those vision and the values, that's when we really realize this is taking time away from my family. It's taking time away from my business.
Yes. I'm going to shut these blinds real quick. You keep going, Lisa.
So thank you for that little synopsis there, because it brought my brain back around. And what I wanted to say is, if for those who have that difficult time, if we've got that good girl syndrome,
right?
At least be able to say in the moment, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I need to check my schedule. So if you're not able to say no in the moment, what this does is it steps you away from wanting to please, wanting to say yes to something that really doesn't fit into your schedule, no matter what way you look at it. And then being able to step back and say, and look at your calendar and say, yes, it fits in. No, I can't. I can do it, but in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever. And here's the key component is if somebody pushes you on this, because we have participated so often in the relationship in a way that we have said yes. So people are used to us. As we all know, those women who step up, those people who step up and are on all the boards and they volunteer all the time, guess what? Everyone always goes to them because they'll say yes, right? So we need to understand that it's our participation within that relationship because we've always said yes. And when we start saying no, people are kind of like, wait a minute.
It happened to me, Lisa. When you make that starting to say no, people don't know what to do with you. So at first they push and push. But what I've learned in my journey of saying no is now it doesn't happen anymore. I just politely say, and even if it's different people, it's the energy I was putting out. Yeah. So now if I say, thank you so much, I'm not interested, or thank you so much, I won't be able to attend, I won't be able to participate. Mm-hmm. I always say, I appreciate you thinking of me, or I appreciate the information. And it's the way that I seem to present it. Now they tend to take it a little bit better.
One of the things I call it the toddler effect. So you know how the toddlers and you're going grocery shopping, right? And they know exactly what level, what pitch they need to hit. Where you're like, okay, I'll get you the candy bar. Just be quiet, right?
Right.
People around us are the same way, whether it's our kids, our family, our colleagues. When we are always saying yes, they're not quite sure what to say or what to do when we say no, because it is how we've engaged in that dance. And when we remove ourselves from the dance, they're not quite sure. So they're going to take the level up. So just understand that when you are setting the boundaries in place, especially with loved ones, they might up their ante a little bit. When you're setting those boundaries in place that are going to support you in creating the balance, they're going to up their ante a little bit. So understand that this is going to happen so that you can be prepared for it. And when we say no, we don't have to be like, hell no. We're like, that doesn't fit into my schedule. This doesn't work for me. We can say it in a very gracious way. And to wrap this one up is when we say no and someone pushes us, that's when we can say, with a smile on our face, really, well, if you need an answer right now, then it's going to have to be no, but I'll be happy to get back with you. And being comfortable saying that. And it doesn't say anything about us other than we value our time. We value our family. We value our business. So I'm going to have to look at if this is in alignment with what I want to be doing. Now, there are times that we are going to say yes, because we value being a part of a community, and it's important to take time away from our business because we want to do that. But understanding that that's a choice and being okay with that, and not having the frustration afterwards, feeling a little bit of anger because, they made me do it. We need to just understand that it's a choice. So boundaries are incredibly key. Absolutely true, important component of creating a balanced business. It is the component. Well, it's right up there with mindset. Like in a lot of the work that I've seen that you do, it is mindset. And
it really is.
It is. And for me, what I'm going to say is a tool.
But the mindset could be associated to the boundaries. So if you're not feeling comfortable saying no, you really need to look at what's happening in your mindset and why. And a lot of times it goes to, and we won't talk about that today, but it goes to wanting to feel needed, or not wanting to disappoint somebody, or there's so many different things there that are associated with it. And I had to work through that myself, because I was the girl that always said yes, but I only have so many hours in the day. And I have never in my entire momhood, that's what I call it, 21 and a half years of being a mom, I have never, ever chosen something over my children. And I will never do that. And now, of course, they're older, so it's different. So I can make different choices. But the boundaries to me is the most important of what you're sharing with us today. We'll jump into, and I know you've got a few more. We've got time for another one.
Okay, great.
Which one do you feel like covering?
What I would love to cover, and it's in alignment with this as well, since we only have a few more minutes, like I said, I could go on for hours.
I know, but that's because you're doing what you're meant to do. That's a positive thing.
It's unhooking from praise and criticism, unhooking from our own repetitive thought patterns. So not only unhooking from what other people think, what we think other people think. And here's the thing, 85% of people, there's so many statistics, but I love this one because 85% of people allow the fear of failure to get in the way of their success. Now, I believe that's actually much higher for women and significantly higher for women in business. So the way that I like to phrase it is, we stop ourselves from doing things that we want to and need to in our business in order to create the success, in order to create the boundaries, and in order to create the balance within our business, right? According to what we think somebody else might be thinking about what it is that we could potentially be doing. So we tricked ourselves up.
Hold on, stop. That was a really important sentence. We need to stop and not just come over that. That was huge. Do you think you can say it again?
We trip ourselves up and we stop ourselves from doing what we need to be doing because of what we think somebody else might possibly think about what it is that we're about to do. So we have a fear of failure. We have a fear of embarrassment. We have a fear of tripping up. And the interesting thing about this is we are creating the failure, the lack of success that we are trying to avoid by not, right? So we've created the failure before we're even out of the gate if we are hooked into what other people believe.
Or may believe or may think. That's why that was such a big deal.
Right, exactly.
That sentence you said we could spend an hour just talking about. So you as a person, not Lisa, but somebody watching, has already made the decision that they're going to affect somebody in a way of what they're going to think about you or how they're going to behave associated with something you haven't even said. And then you have decided that you're a mind reader, which most of us are not. Right?
I don't know any that really.
So what do we do about that?
Pardon me?
What do we do?
Connect to your vision and your values.
Perfect.
Right? So connecting to your vision and your values, you can make the choice of, is this so? Is this belief so? Do I know this? Play it to the end game. Curiosity is your friend through and through. Always be curious. Compassionate curiosity. Why am I believing this? Why am I thinking this? What is the trigger? This is a really key, compassionate curiosity, noticing if one person in particular or one situation, when you're vulnerable, when you're speaking, when you're going for a raise, when you're going for an interview, when you're talking to somebody in particular, is that person or situation triggering you to go down that rabbit hole, right? So just recognizing it and noticing it. What is the visceral reaction that you're having to it that is stopping? A lot of the women that I work with, that their shoulders get really clenched. Sometimes their stomach, they've got the knot in their stomach. Their palms might sweat, right? So noticing what the visceral reaction is when we get hooked, when we stop ourselves, when we feel embarrassed, when we start thinking those repetitive thoughts. Take 3 deep breaths. Just stop and take 3 deep breaths with nothing else in your brain, just counting in and out. And that's enough of a disruptor to really be okay. So if I play this out to the end game and I actually go on and I do this Facebook Live and I totally screw it up, I'm probably not going to wind up homeless with everybody hating me. Probably not. I will have actually done something that 99% of the people out there, well, nowadays with Facebook, 95%.
But it's the way you're looking at it.
Right.
You could choose to look at it that this could happen, which is bad, or you could choose to look at it this way, which is good.
Right. So, and understanding compassionate curiosity, you are going to fail. It is incredibly egoic to think that we're going to reach the success that we want to reach without failure. So just understanding that it's going to happen. And that kind of, I want to wind up with one final little piece, if we've just got a couple more minutes, is really creating some accountability for yourself. Get a tribe of people around you, women around you who are going to have your back, not someone that's going to agree with you every single moment, but someone that's going to say, girl, let's sit down and talk about this for a second, because it is not true. Let's play this out. Create that accountability. Have someone that's going to call you out on your mindset when they can see that it's tripping you up. Make sure it's someone that you trust, who has your back, who's not going to judge you, that you can get uncomfortable. And that's a part of what I do with my coaching. I have several that call me the velvet hammer, right? So I call my clients out in a very loving and compassionate way of, hey, let's look at what your story is behind this. Let's look at why you're showing up this way, and let's look at why you're tripping yourself up. In my 27 years as an entrepreneur, when I am the most successful and I'm flying high and I'm just cruising through, like just everything's just cruising, it's because my mindset, my belief in myself is that I am capable. On the flip side, when I've struggled and I've really tripped up and I have problems with boundaries and balance and all those components, it's because my lack of belief in myself. There's no difference in experience. There's no difference in anything else. It's all mindset. So it's really important to have someone who can call you out on that and support you lovingly and moving forward. So
that's a great way to look at it. I love the comparison that you made of 2 identical scenarios, 2 identical paths with believing in yourself or not believing in yourself. I really like the way that you said that. I think that that is very powerful, and that if anyone watching only walks away with that, oh my gosh, aside from all the great other information you gave us, you have a choice. You have a choice to try to believe in yourself. And I love how you talked about the supporting women or men, it doesn't matter, people, because when you don't believe in yourself, sometimes you can get along for a bit with someone else believing in you for you.
I have a friend who I've been in business for 27 years, so I have had some struggles. And he's always said, if your view of yourself isn't working, then use mine for a while.
There you go.
That's the type of friend that you need. Someone who's going to be there when you're down. They're going to sit with you when you're down. They're going to kick your butt to get you back up.
And I want to mention, before Lisa talks about how to get a hold of her and learn more about her, that there are a lot of people in this world that don't have that type of support system. What I want to share with you is this. Even though you may believe that there's a world out there of people that are cutthroat and competitive, I'm telling you from my experience also of over 22 years of working for myself, that I have been blessed to find. Please understand, I'm finding those groups. So if it's not a best friend, or if it's not a sister, if it's not a mother, it's not a I don't know, whatever, significant other, it doesn't matter. Please find them. Today, technology makes it so easy. There's enough organizations in your city. There's enough groups online, LinkedIn, Facebook, it doesn't matter, that are out there, and all they want to do is uplift you. And from that stems friendships. From that stems relationships that you can build to have that friend. And I think that I know that some of us are very blessed to have always had that, like Lisa and I, but some of us do not have that in our immediate circle. Make that your immediate circle. Find it.
Sometimes it takes work, and that's,
Yeah.
you know, we think that we should, that if we're struggling, it's just not out there. Sometimes we need to realize, like I talked about before, we are participating in a relationship at a certain level. If it's not working, then we need to own that, not to put the blame and the onus on us, but just to realize that this relationship is not working on where I want to be headed. Yes. So start looking out there, start investigating, you know, different meetup groups online, just searching for people who you like their energy, and really sort of lean into that. And there are people out there that are
so many. And you start with a group, and then it starts to narrow down. All of a sudden, people are commenting, people are reaching out to you. Or if you even put out a, hey, I'm looking for a group that this, or I'm looking for someone to connect with that we could hold each other accountable. I'm telling you, I've seen groups that I've been a part of, and I'm a part of a lot of groups online and in my city, where a woman will make one comment in this group, one comment that says, I'm looking for someone to support me in this. She had 200 comments, 200 women. I'm in. Like she had to filter them.
It's that accountability, because then we are far more apt to let ourselves down when we commit to something, that when we're in a group. That's why the accountability, that's why teams are so important, because we've made a personal commitment to the team. Even if it's something about us and it's the accountability group, we're less apt to not do that work when somebody else is there with us.
For sure. So Lisa, tell everybody how they can learn more about working with you and how they can connect with you.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. That you can check out my website, which is just lisadanforth.com. I like to keep things nice and easy. And also my LinkedIn profile, which has a lot of information, a lot of videos and stuff that I've done. And that's just LinkedIn, Lisa Danforth at LinkedIn.
And if they're interested in learning more about working with you, tell them for a moment a little bit about what you do, in a sense, so there's a little bit more clarity.
Excellent. So what I do is I bring the 27 years of what it takes, really creating that vision, creating all of that. But it's the mindset component that really trips the women up. So I create this very safe space to step into, to investigate what's going on, what's working, as well as what's not working, and really leaning into it. What are your strengths? The biggest component is really creating that safe space to explore and really seeing what it is, owning what your passion is, instead of just saying, I can't do that, it's way out there, but really connecting to it, creating that vision. And then we create a roadmap so that you know what you're working on, why you're working on it, and when you're working on it. And that really allows you to create the time and energy management in order to make it happen.
Perfect. So if you're interested in learning more about those things and what Lisa does, make sure you connect with her. Thank you so much, Lisa, for taking the time. I think you gave so much value today. I know that anyone that's watching can take so much out of this and implement it right away in their business and in their life.
Thank you so much. And it has been a joy watching and listening to all of your videos as well. Just following.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
I really appreciate your mission.
Thank you, everyone, for watching another week of Women Empowering Women. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and I will see you soon.